Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm Emo Tempest and today we are picking up where we left off such a while ago. This is episode 3, I believe, of Crystal's Tales from the Dominion, and I know the meta's kind of already been established, but I do want to catch you guys up on everything that I've been testing and I've been playing with and things that I like and, you know, where I've been in this meta, right? So for the most part, we have been trying to make this work. The Turks deck has been very interesting, and I just feel that because Avalanche came out so much stronger in the end, primarily based on the colors and just Barrett overall, right? They had that support from him and the Tifa and from the set, right? That this got overlooked, right? So I did my best to try to keep it relevant at locals. We haven't been able to win with it yet, unfortunately. We did get close, but you know. So things happened, and so we didn't get there. So the main thing that I want to talk about is what is the game plan, right? When I played this deck, what I found about this deck is that I think it has two modes, right? It has the all-in mode, right, which is the Alcid, Rinoa, into Alcid, into Seng, into something else. And the other one, it has the Roche early rush and then squeeze in the last points in, like with your combos and stuff. And then it has mid-ish tempo, like mid to late game with your Shiva and your Felthanos to protect the board state, right? This is my version, right? I just want to point out that this was the last version I tested that I got second place with at locals. And then I also want to touch up that I'm actually very happy that at the Chilean Nationals, someone got into top 4. So I played this one last week, and I'll talk about the comparisons and what I like from this list that I will incorporate into my list, right? And so the biggest thing is that cards like Vayne have been making a surprising amount of impact sometimes, right? Like, I only play a one of for two reasons. He is searchable, right? We have the Gramis searchable, so Gramis, Alcid, and Felthanos are also searchable from Gramis, but he's also another 4-drop ice that Alcid can play that kind of just shuts big stuff down, some big things, right? There was a time where this took down, I was playing this before because the Mobius deck was so popular in locals, but it still has a small impact here and there. I think it's a great card overall, but might be able to sub this one out for some of the other stuff. The Shivas are another good idea as well, when you're able to dull the whole board, right, when Alcid is out. And so, or even if, I believe it's Rude, yeah, all the 4-drop control is able to trigger, and if either you're playing it first or you're playing it after the initial turn, if you're able to get them all out, that Shiva will be able to keep everything frozen, allowing you to progress another turn or keep it in there. And Felthanos is the basic protection that I think the deck needed. There isn't much that Ice and Lightning have to protect these cards, unfortunately, other than like that Summoner and Edward, which is what I put in here, the Harley Edward symbol engine here. So throwing him down mid to late game is when you're able to have like 2 or 3 of these on the board, and the next turn you'll play the last one, right? And so I found a balance by building it this way. I'm sure others have as well, but the backup line is what I found a little more interesting, that I think helps a lot. So the Lulu gives everybody, right? So everybody, with the exception of Shiva and Vayne and Rinoa, they're all going to get +1 right off the bat. I also want to add a Princess Sarah instead of another Lulu, so I can not only ramp a little faster, but get the double buff if necessary. I already mentioned the Gramis to search the bigger pieces that like help the certain matchups. The Edward is for protection. Ovjong is to get back one of these guys if necessary. The Aldo is to also search whoever's missing. Like I said, they're mostly lightning. The Shinra, and then the one X-Death to bring back either the Alcid, the Seng, or whichever one is needed. The other thing is that eventually Shiva will be able to like put backups in the break zone, and some of these we don't care about, right? Like we can pitch the Avjong and like Gramis and Harley and even the Kate Sith if needed. So I like this version, but going to the Chilean Nationals one that we tested, things I liked from this one, as you noticed, I'm not playing both Rufuses or extra of Turks. I like the idea of extra Turks. I don't like the idea of holding into them. And then same thing with the Rufuses, right? Like, I understand this ability is very important sometimes, but when you like, I don't know. I just don't like extra dead cards, I guess, right? Like, I'd prefer to have something else. Things that I had. I'm not, again, and just to be very clear, I think this deck is good. It's just my play style, right? I don't want to, this guy did a great work at his event, and I'm actually very happy for him. I know the Chileans usually peek into our locals on Mondays, so it's only fair that I peek into their nationals lists. But I do enjoy the Cloud and the Tifa. The Cloud helps us get the backup we need, which is usually the President right away. So that's very helpful. And then I like the fact that Tifa, this was something I overlooked because I've never actually played the 7 stuff. So the fact that Tifa can be played with any CP from any element after Cloud is on the board. And I wish there was a better backup to abuse this with in these colors, but there isn't. The summon choices, in my opinion, I guess this one makes sense for the drawing, but I would change them. I don't know. When I tested it, I didn't like them. The Haydigger I had originally, and I will be bringing back probably. And then I've never been a fan of this card. I know it's almost the same thing because it can pay for itself, but the discard, S ability just feels different, maybe because I've played it more. And then the Hurdy as well, I liked, but it doesn't get us anything in the future, so it just pretty much play one and done. And then the Reeve I just didn't have. Like, I admitted it from mine, even though it was only one Ketsa. That's such a good little thing that I had before that I was messing around without. But yeah, I think the Turks will be going out. We have new cards already revealed, Palmer and some other guys, and then I think by the end of the year we should have the other Turk. I don't remember her name, but she's gonna be playable as well, I hope. Now the one I've been fixated the most on has been Earthwater Robel. I just wanted to. I think you've known me, guys, right? We talked about this last set where I wanted to abuse and how to draw multiple cards per turn, right? And so I keep elaborating on that ability, right? And so with that, we have Sophie, Lakshmi, Robel, Blue Worm, and then, it's just any one of those cards are going to generate us value as we go. Things like Sarah and, when I need to have Luminous Puma and stuff, right? So this deck is pretty straightforward. It's just Value Town USA and play good cards, right? Crystal Abuse, right? I found also I love more and more every day this Realm, bringing in stuff as big as Luminous Puma. We had Exarray for a while. In this version, this is the last version I played at the RVA Weekly, actually. So, shout outs to them for as always hosting and letting us play. Incidentally, I played against 2 Ice Legendary Gilgamesh decks, which were interesting, but Mist Dragon kind of deals with that stuff. And make sure to go check out their VOD on Twitch if you want to see how this deck plays a little bit more. I think I also played the Twins last Monday, but this is what I've been messing with. I like being able to play this Ultimecia or pitch her and bring her back. I think this card can be very good, considering with the amount of 2-drops we play and the amount of 2-drops that are out in the meta. I haven't done it yet, but I've stolen stuff, yes, but I haven't stolen one of the Twins or Iridia with multiple, what do you call them? Counters on them or whatnot. The only things I would change here so much is the Atamos. I want to bump to 3, and I'm not sure which Lena I prefer still. I think I still like this one more over this one because the crystals are better used for Rubble and Realm, but she's obviously more expensive. So Emperor I feel is making a nice comeback. There is a lot of cards currently abusing action abilities, and I'm not saying he's gonna be super protected and live forever, but he is the best this deck can do to drop stuff and help keep us alive. So I'm playing one. It's done a lot of work. It does surprisingly a lot of work against dancers as well if you have that at your locals. So that's just something to keep in mind. Go-Go, as big as of a card it is, and as cool and as future-proof as it's going to be, I predict that Emperor might make a comeback, but we're not exactly sure yet. So, been testing well. I'll see how he does in other decks. And lastly, what we played on Monday, which I found to be very fun, is the first time I actually played with the Twins, Palom Porom, is just me messing around with what I've seen. twins, double Yuzuki, which I find is great, helps them stay alive. Triple Terra, triple Lakshmi, triple Jet, which is just absurd, right? In my opinion, to play in a deck like this. I think, again, for me personally, I wanted to play with Gilgamesh and Jet, just to kind of like be able to reborn them and say no to stuff with Amaterasu as well. Like, I kind of want to cut you off at every corner, right? And so having this to blank, Amaterasu to negate autos, and him just for extra backup was a little more security that I wanted for this deck, because I needed them to stay alive more. The Susanos and Braskas were a nice touch as well. I like that Braska can deal with things, so he's fun to have. Also, I picked up a second one finally, so wanted to play two. I don't normally play Brynhildr's, but I love this card. And then again, another situation where I think I'm going to put 3 Atamos and 2 Phoenix. I wanted to switch I should probably switch this number a little bit. And then the backups are pretty simple. Like, I added the Vivi and Black Mages to kind of recur like this for EX Burst, this to recur some of these guys, because they're very good. The Chu, of course, very important these days. The double Sahajin kind of like shot me in the leg once I was out of Lakshmis. It was such a weird duel, but my opponent was able to remove all the Lakshmis and left me with 2 dead cards in my backup zone. And yeah, the rest are just EX Burst get things, right? Like your Lenora's, Az, and Thornton. Thornton's also there for the Susano or anything that requires me to give up a backup. And yeah, I like this deck. This is a more fire-based deck. I think this week I will be trying a water-based Twins deck, right? And what I mean by that, it's all water, all EX Burst, and then stuff like Brynhildr, Amaterasu still, but I'll be playing those via Garnet. And then I'll have triple of that Moogle that generates fire, as well as the Princess Sarah engine to get the Sarah to get Princess Sarah, or whatever, but like, that little backup engine or whatever. The main reason is because I want to make sure Gilgamesh might survive a little more. Like, if you control 5 or more water characters, Gilgamesh can be broken by opposing summons or abilities that don't deal damage. So I know for the most part things are dealing damage right now, but he will be better off in that situation. So also, I don't want to be stuck with I feel like I'll be better off in that position when I have more consistency. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. Anyway, I don't want to drag this one on too long because it's been a while. And the cover art, like the thumbnail just shows Mind Flayer, and I strayed away from him. We'll talk more about him in another episode, but yeah, guys, I'm back, so I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I will be posting all these deck lists in the description, so you guys can check them out. If you have any questions about the lists or matchups or stuff like that, hit me up and we can talk. Yeah, I'll see you guys.